Good morning, everyone. We'll get started shortly. Thank you.
But they're using Teams too. Normally they don't.
Good morning, Northstar. Yes, unos momentos.
Teachers to go get phonics cards from kindergarten teacher.
Good morning, everyone. Are we ready?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, let's
Good
get
morning.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm unable to, this is Francois with True to Life Foundation. I'm unable to write in the chat. I don't know why.
I
Good
am as
morning.
Well,
well.
type in the chat.
Ortiz, could you check that for us? I'm not sure what the,
Well,
why
the
some are
chat
blocked.
is, it's
It's-
enabled for everyone, so I'm
It's
not
new.
sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
You probably log out and log back in.
Thanks. I was going to say
Maybe.
same thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to give those folks a minute to jump back into the meeting. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning again. Happy pre-Friday. Thursdays always feel better when I'm able to say that. So I'm glad you're able to be with us. Right now, we've got about 116 people, that will be including me, online right now. So we do ask that everyone remain muted, so that we're able to go through your agenda. We've got a presentation for you and some information as always to update you on. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You guys can open up my slide. All right, so good morning. Just want to make sure that I've been working, and I know many of you have been waiting to hear. We did get notification as of yesterday that we are not receiving an increase for our early childhood block grant for program year 25, 24, 25. Normally by now we would have heard if there was an increase. I was on a call with CPS and was informed that ECBG is flat this year, that there is no increase. And so I know some people have been waiting to hear about it because I know I see that face coming up on the screen. Yeah. Everything going on, people have, budget holes, but we are also in a really, really, really unsure time about everything going on around us. And so, again, I just wanted to, as soon as I knew, wanted to inform you that we don't have any increases. So we won't be doing a grant action for that. There may be one, but it won't be for the increase from ECBG. So just know that there is no increase. And so if you had planned for it, and we're thinking about it, I just wanted to make sure that you could say to yourself, to your organization, we don't anticipate
Hola,
one.
¿me llamaron?
Could everyone please mute?
¿Llamaron, Miss?
Can you mute everyone for me? Thank you. Federal update. I know it's been a whirlwind for everyone, hearing everything that's going on at the federal level. I want to say first, we've not received anything from anyone that's impacting our grants right now. I say right now because everything is changing as we know it in the federal landscape. We do know, and I'm sure you've heard, that there were some impact with some layoffs and individual agencies. I know Office of Head Start was one that was impacted. So if you did hear that, we do know that there was some changes at the federal level as far as staffing in different departments and different divisions. And so we do know that there were some changes at in Office of Head Start as well. But as of now, we haven't received anything. I do have a call with our regional specialist today at
You
noon.
sent me your January stuff.
If everybody could mute, please.
So Rachel, if you're talking, you're also muted.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. Thank you. On the federal side, what we do know is that there is some changes no changes that we've heard that are impacting our work. I do have a call with my team and Office of Head Start at 12 o'clock with our regional specialist. And so if there's any updates that are given that impacts anything, we will definitely share information with those of you on the federal side. I know there's a lot. Every day there's something new going on. Just know that at the City of Chicago, we've got Department of Law. We also have a policy team, both at the city level and here at the department, where we're reading through everything that's coming through and making some determinants and decisions about what impact, if any, what changes of anything that we need to do. Once we know if there's anything that we need to change, anything that you need to change on your side, we will definitely be informing you of that. Again, just know right now we have not received anything. But we are keeping our eyes and ears open as well, should you, to the federal landscape right now in our nation. So that's where we are right now. Nothing to give, nothing to offer at this time. If anything changes, we definitely will be back with you on that side. On the next month meeting, which is March 20th, CPS will be present at that meeting. I mentioned before that they will be going over the procedure for the pre-IPT, which they're now moving to online. And so staff that interact with pre-IPT, actually doing it in classrooms and then doing scoring, or someone who supports that work at your organization, needs to be present at that meeting in March to understand what the new system will be. It will start in the new program year in August of 2025. So you need to be up to date and get that information. So make sure someone from your organization is present at that meeting. I did request in addition to that, from our last meeting, that someone from CPS also be there to talk about kindergarten enrollment. And so we are working to have both of those different departments be present at our next EDPD to give you updates. Please have someone there on that pre-IPT. I want to make sure that your agencies that have PFA, that are actually doing the pre-IPT with your children in your classrooms, that you have someone there to understand the new rule and the new responsibility for that. CARES. Here we go again, talking about CARES. We're still not there yet. We don't have 100% of our folks using it. We are doing everything that we can to get everyone in the system. I know my team has been out to some of the sites and actually offered support and helping, and we will be doing everything that we can going forward to make sure that we're able to get us where we need to be with our care system. I'm sorry, I was hesitating for a second. I was pulling up a document. One of the things we've said is we had until February to try to get us where we needed to go. I will tell you, and I'm going to show you some information about where we are with getting agencies in. And so am I able to share, Martise?
Yes, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, thank you. It's not allowing me to share yet.
The most current.
Let's see.
You should be able to. I'm not sure why.
It's not letting me. I'm going to share this with you quickly.
Okay.
Always got to have a backup plan, people. Let me know if you got it.
Not yet. Okay.
Soon as Martise has the document is able to bring it up, I'm just going to walk you through a couple of things. Just know that we have responsibility for reporting. We've got 3 specific reports that go out to all of our organizations, to our funders, excuse me. We've, of course, have our ISB report that's due on the 1st of the month. And then we have by the 7th of the month, we are responsible for putting information into the Head Start Enterprise System. And we're also working with CSIDS, which means we've got 3 different reports that this team is trying to produce. And so scroll all the way over at the top of the document and you'll see a grid. But just us trying to make sure that we are able to get to a point where we're able to pull reports directly out of the system. Keep going. Keep going. And then go up some on the document. You might be over too far. There it is. Okay. And so what I'm doing is keeping up with how many of you are at minimum doing the 4 critical entry points into CARES. Those 4 critical entry points. Number 1 is making sure that you're setting up your classrooms. Number 2, that you're doing enrollments in the system, that you're actually attaching funding to your children, and then that you're doing attendance. What we know in the system and what we've learned is if we're able to do those 4 effectively, then doing the other steps, doing meal counts, doing health events, and all those other things become something that your agency should be able to do on your side as well. So we're tracking it and I'm looking at it. And so when I looked at it on the 10th, February 10th, what I did, I had 7 agencies that were from my staff who had done all of their research and going through working with agencies. There were 7 agencies that were consistently doing those 4 data sets. When I say consistently, what I'm saying is enrolling all of your children. If you enroll 5 children, we're not going to say that you're done in enrollments because you still have children that you need to be enrolling. Came back to it on this week and looked again because what I wanted to see is where are we now? And when I did it on the 25th, we were up. We went from 7 to 50, which is great. But if you look at the numbers, as sites that still need follow-up or information, we need to help you or whatever we need to do. There's still 157 sites out there. That's really concerning that today is the 27th of February because we are supposed to be turning on the side of the system to auto-generate reports. Our funders are chomping at the bits to be able to get these reports directly from us, and they cannot. And so now I'm going to have you scroll over some. And yes, I am going to be so bold as to show you what it looks like. Just scroll over so that it opens. No, not that way, the other way. I'm sorry, I should be specific. Thank you. We have not put meal counts in all of that, and you can stop there. So when I'm looking at agencies, for example, I'm looking to see, are these things happening, not just at the agency level, but also down to your site level. And so what we're finding is I might get yes to a classroom, I might get yes to enrollment, and I might get yes to funding attached, but I'm not getting the attendance. Attendance is critical because, again, that's one of the things that we have to map and we have to track, as do you. But if it's not in the system, then our record of recording becomes a moot point because you can say a child is enrolled, but if they're not attending, then that enrollment is moot. And so we've got to get to a point where we're doing all of this. Scroll up just a little bit. Or down, I'm sorry. You know, that it's harder when you're not the person actually doing this, but just, yeah, there you go. Where it's green, for example, what we know from those agencies and what we know from data and what we're able to see in the care system is that we've got a classroom that's set up. We've got enrollments that are complete, meaning all children are enrolled, that the funding is attached to all of those children and that they're doing attendance. And so there's information that there can start populating reports and generating reports directly from CARES. We got to get everybody to this point. And so where you see blanks, I know that the staff are still working with some of you. But I'm going to continue to do this on a weekly basis. I want to know where we are. I have to report up to leadership here at DFSS and give them updates where we are with utilization of CARES. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be transparent. I said it before. Please know my back is against the wall, because if we're not using the data system, it becomes an issue. And I know we've got Excel spreadsheets that we're relying on, and I'm trying to get us all off of those. But if we're not giving us the data and we're not getting to this data system, which is our data system of entry for everything that we should be doing in children's services, we're going to be looking at individuals who are going to want me to then downsize and or cancel contracts. I don't want to do that. I know this has been a hard road for all of us. And so I've been pushing not to get us there, but I'm going to tell you, I'm at the end of February, and I know we've been working. I know there are glitches. I know there's some children stuck in school mint. I know where people are having access issues. So I got all of that. I'm being told, and I know everything that people are doing and having issues with. And so all of those things I'm familiar with. But I'm also now from my desk monitoring what's going on with CARES to figure out who is going in and doing all of the critical pieces. I see in the chat the reports that have to go out, we do every month. One is we're responsible for reporting to CPS, which is ISB report. That's due on the 1st of the month. And so they don't have an easy turnaround, my staff. So your entry into even your spreadsheets by the end of this week, they have to turn that around and be able to initiate a report for CPS immediately. That's how quickly they want their reports at the end of the month. Their reports are due on the 1st of the month. Office of Head Start requires us to go into the Head Start enterprise system and report enrollment by the 7th of the month. And so we have a little bit of a window there to get everything into that system. But we also have to generate in that system why we're under enrolled, and we've got to give narrative to that, right? And so where you're not showing enrollment on any of your classrooms, that information is shown in the Head Start enterprise system as well. But then we have the Chicago Early Childhood Integrated Data System, where we, as a funded entity, and others who have the federal grant are also putting their information into the CSIDS report as well. And that is due from our division by the 10th of the month. And so it's critical that we get there, critical that this information is in here. Again, I want to move everybody from spreadsheets. I can't move you from spreadsheets with the gaps that we currently have in our data system. I know that you're trying. I know that you need assistance. We're trying to discern what is it that you need? What is it we can do to help? But right now we are at critical, and this is mission critical. We either are going to do this or we're going to have people outside of me making some determinants about this. Because again, if the reports can't be generated and auto-populated, funders are going to say they don't want to continue getting their documents the way they are. We've already done some links to the system, but I'm holding them off because there's not enough data to do an auto-generated report. And so again, the 4 that I'm looking at first, and I'm not that I'm not going to look at the other ones, I am, but the 4 that I'm starting with on my side is looking at classroom setup. Have you set up your classrooms? Have you done your enrollments? All your enrollments. If you got 17 children and you got 17 enrolled, I should have 17 enrolled in the system. I should have funding attached. If they have dual funding, if they have federal and state, their funding should be attached to them. And you need to be then doing attendance, because again, that justifies that all of this other stuff is in there. Having children in the first 3 columns doesn't get you a real enrolled child. Enrollment is when those children are attending. And so that's why I'm also including that one that I'm looking at as well. And so I understand. I see your message. I know, and I mentioned it. I know some folks are waiting on CPS IDs. I know that there's some backlog, there's some issues, and we're working with our vendor, where Craig is feverishly trying to work with folks. We're doing everything that we can. And so where those issues are identified, and I know those. But where I'm not getting issues, and I know that people have been trained and we're still sitting here without it being done, it is becoming an issue for us to document and justify where we are and what we're doing. And so again, we're here. I have to give this number of 50. I'm gonna, hopefully it's more than 50 by later today, but I have to give that to senior leadership here at DFSS because the mayor's office is asking as well. Not only is the mayor's office, but we have the other division that handles IT for the city of Chicago because they are working with us on the system for any errors, but they also want to know what's happening with your utilization on that side as well. I see a hand up. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm so sorry I had to find the button. How is everyone?
Good.
I was calling, I'm sorry, I was asking about the attendance. It says no. Does that mean that it's not being entered every day, or is it like overall?
It's not
What's that
being,
look like?
Craig, you can unmute, but I believe as if this not being done every day because that's where we should be. We should be doing our attendance every day. I know I had gone in CARES and, I had an agency who had done it once and hadn't gone back in to do any more attendance, but it's got to be consistently done in order for us to count it. Craig, go ahead.
Yes, we had I don't remember what it is right now, we had a threshold up beyond which we determined yes or no. It's pretty forgiving, really. So it's got to do with the number of children who were in the classes who attendance was taken for, whether present or absent, versus they're sitting there and it's not taken. So it's not being taken every day. It doesn't mean it's never been taken, but it's probably less than half or something like that.
So what we're saying at this point, it should be consistent. Everything that you used to do with your attendance and you did it every day, you got to be doing it. We're there now where we should be doing all of these things daily. If you enroll a new child, you need to be putting that child in and enrolling that child as quickly as you go through your process, making sure that they're in the care system, making sure that they're up to date, making sure that the funding attached, attendance is being taken, and moving forward with all of the other items as well. Right now, I'm looking at those 4 with you on the screen. But again, I've got too many no's in places for us to say that we're ready to do anything auto-generated. We shouldn't be sitting here right now, but we are. And so what I'm saying to everybody is I like I've said to my staff, I'm ready to start being in the field 3 days a week, going to agencies and trying to figure out what the heck is going on because, we are really at a real critical juncture. And I want to remind everybody where we are. We are sitting here in a midst where there are people who are challenging on us whether or not we're doing our jobs. Data is what people look at. If I got someone in right now who said, open up your data system and show me how many children are enrolled, I'd have to say, we're not effectively using or finished using and updating everything in the data system. We're going to show you spreadsheets. They may or may not be okay with that. I'm going to tell you that. And then if they go in and figure out how long it's been taken for us to get folks to do this, that would be an issue too. I have all the information on why. Believe me, we've been talking about why it has not been effective, it has not worked, why there are issues. All of those things are things that we're doing and communicating. But right now, we're over the hump in a lot of this. And people should be going in and using this data system as you were using COPA before. I know it is not equal. I know it is not as intuitive. I know it has its issues. But at this point, we have to be using a data system in order to document what we're doing. I see your hand up, Karen. Just give me one moment. So Ken, thank you. Enrollment includes doing all of your ISB history. It does not include just the 4. Those I'm only looking at the 4 right now because it's giving me a gauge for people, whether they're even going in and working to try to use the system. But to Ken's point, it is doing your ISB history for ECBG for all your pre-K and PI children is necessary in that system. And so by now, we should be able to auto-generate our ISB report, and we're not able to because everyone is not doing, at minimum, these 4 critical pieces because everything here ties to that child actually being in your program. Attendance is tracked using the spreadsheet, yes. But what we're wanting to do is get away from that and start using this system. So if you've done your enrollments and your funding is there, you should be doing your attendance in the system. We're ready to move you in that direction so that we can begin to auto-generate and auto-populate. And so again, the message to all of you is once we get all of this done, we're going to move you. We will retire these spreadsheets. We'll have a celebration. We'll have a celebration of moving away from spreadsheets. I think all of you will love the big cake that we can buy to show, hey, look at what we did here. But right now we're at mission critical and making sure that everybody's in here. Karen, I see your hand up.
Hi, everyone. I just have two quick questions. So the first one is a follow-up of the spreadsheets. When you say you'll move us away, is that after everybody is entering, or once our site is fully up and running with the system on a daily basis, we could move away from it, or we would have to wait till everybody is doing it?
That's an assessment that we're making as a team here. What's going to
Okay.
be to the benefit, because again, they have to pull these reports on a monthly basis, and trying to pull them, between 3 different things might be a little bit more difficult. But at the end of the day, what we've looked at is our ability to do that. But then when we were talking about one agency, and but the attendance started, but then it stopped. And so again, even with that one, I wasn't able to go ahead and make that decision to see if this will work, because what started didn't continue. And so it's got to be, we started, we got it all in, and we're continuing the process and doing everything that we need to do, so that we can see that your team on your side is able to be effective in this system. Because again, once we shut down the spreadsheets, we're not going back to them. And what we can't have is agencies who are still not doing what they need to do and getting everything set up in CARES. And now we're not using spreadsheets, because all we're going to do is trip the entire system, and we can't afford to do that.
Okay. My last question is, I know as far as enrolling a child, they don't show up immediately like COPA did. Is that something
Correct.
that we're working on that may change in the near future, or is that how it's always going to be?
Craig, can you respond to that question?
Sorry, I was reading the chat. What's the?
So I know, unlike COPA, when you enroll a child, they don't show up immediately. Is that something that's always going to be there like that, or are we working towards eventually it'll show up like immediately or within a couple of hours?
Yes, we're slowly working towards that. The problem is right now is that we have 2 separate systems in Schoolmint, which does the online application where kids go in, and then our kids are in a Salesforce-based app. So it needs to be communicated over, and that happens periodically because they're coming through a third-party vendor that's making placements. The hope is, well, CPS has already decided they're not going to continue indefinitely with Schoolmint, and they have another application that they're working on rolling out. And when that comes online, it should be, still don't think it'll be instant, but the goal is to make it more like 15 minutes rather than what today, which typically it's overnight. But that won't unfortunately start until the application that opens in the spring of 2026.
Okay.
That vendor missed the deadlines for this year, basically. So we are opening an application in a matter of weeks in Schoolmint again. So you'll be hearing about that shortly. But yes, I mean, we appreciate that it's too slow and cumbersome, and they're trying to get rid of that problem in the future iteration of the application.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I saw in the chat who are the 7. We're up to 50 now, which was a huge step. Still have another 157 sites. We have 89 agencies, but again, across all of you, because of how you're funding and how you're partnering, we have another 157 sites that still need work. And so I'm only sharing this to let you know that we are doing everything that we can. We're monitoring, we're looking. This information helps us here on our site. When we're looking and asking Craig to, get your team together, here's some agencies that we see are struggling. What do we know? What do you know? What do you know? What have you heard? So that when we triage effectively, then we're able to really come in and do what you need to get you over the hump. And that's what we're trying to do right now. I do know, and, like Craig said, there's some issues with some of the kids coming over from Schoolmint. We're aware of that. I know people had some access issues. All of those things are issues, but we've got to work through them, and we got to keep the needle moving. So I started off with, there were 7. So that was, probably not then I back again this week and I've got 50. So the needle is moving. So I thank everyone for what you're doing. I know this is not easy. It is, and I've said to leadership and to the department in downtown, you know, we built a system that's not the most intuitive system, but we still got to work our way through this. And I know this is what we're all trying to do. I know you want to be away from spreadsheets, as does my staff. I don't want to have to create another one. I think we've got enough of those out there, but we've got to have our system at a point where we can auto-generate reports. Our funders are wanting it, and we need it. We, as a division, we need to be able to auto-generate reports. The question about reports in the system, there are some reports, but again, reports are only as good as the data. And if you're looking at the gaps here, we could keep scrolling and showing you gaps all over the place. Reports are only going to be as good as what the data is going into the system. And so we're working with our vendor on reports as we speak, and we've made some corrections to some of the reports. Yes, you will be able to generate reports on your side, as will we on our side. But if there's no data in the system, there's no report to really generate. And so I'm having to say that same thing to our funders. Without data, I can't generate what you're asking me for. I can't automatically do it for you. I'm still confused with the attendance showing no. My staff completes attendance daily in CARES. Again, we are going back in, my team are going back in, and the last day that I did this in the report, that's what was still there. My staff had not had an opportunity to go in and update everybody because they were trying to do a report that was due. And so they're going to come back and update this for me across it. And I'm sure that we're going to see more agencies that are, doing the critical and more of you that are doing attendance. And so, again, just know that this is a little outdated as far as the date. They had not had a chance, Craig and team. Craig's down 2 people in data. They're also trying to go out and do training and technical assistance, but they're also the ones that are doing all of these reports as well. I know there's some issues with attendance and CARES for school-age children regarding those with CCAP. I know that they're doing some work on it. I was on a call with the vendor and with the CCAP team. So I know they're working through some of those issues and that functionality as we speak. So I'm hoping that everything is over the hump, at least in the next week or so. I know they do when they make a change, they do an overnight generation, but they only do those once a week. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll see that some of that has been rectified for the full-time, part-time function in the CARES system. Another person, and I'll work with Craig after the meeting. We'll talk a little bit more about it. You're saying you're putting in attendance daily as well. Could we be missing a step? Attendance is also done on the weekly Excel sheet. And so if it's on the Excel sheet, what this is representing here is not the Excel spreadsheet, is representing what's in CARES, first of all. But if they're missing a step, if there's something that might not be doing correctly, Craig and I will go over that and we'll try to get a better gauge on exactly what it is so we can figure out what the next things are to make sure, because I want to give credit where credit is due. And we're trying to, figure out where everybody is to see if there's a glitch. Is there some step, to your point, that's being missed? Is there something that's not able to show it on our side? So when we go in, that we actually can see the work that you're doing on your side. Because again, that's the only way that we're able to, say, yes, you're utilizing it, is that we can see it on our side. For EHS home base, are pregnant moms supposed to be enrolled in the class list? Yes, it would be as unborn child or parent's name. Craig, how are we doing that in CARES? For the unborn child?
Yes, home visiting kids in general, unborn children specifically, they don't need to be placed in a class. The parallel object in CSD CARES that they are enrolled in is the caseload of their home visitor. They do need to submit an application in Schoolmint, just like everybody else, and it will create like a file that it will be called like Unborn Johnson or something like that, and then they will once the child is born, that file can be converted into a child file. The trick with putting them in, that you're going to encounter with putting them in Schoolment right now, is that the system is a real-time enrollment system, and it decides what programs to offer you based on the birth date of the child. So if you are trying to put someone in who you served earlier in the year, as unborn enrollment, as a prenatal enrollment, and now you've got the child, their birth date is in the past. So if you put that in the application, it will not give you the option to apply for prenatal services. So even if you're talking about a child who was born in November, if you haven't put them in the system yet and you're putting them in now, you need to use a future date and then edit it later. So you need to have a date like March of 2025 in order to get the ability to submit an application for an unborn child, because you're not, the system isn't set up to backdate anything. So that's the issue. When people are saying we can't figure out how to apply to the prenatal program, that's the issue. They're applying for kids that are already born. So you've got to lie about the birth date and then turn around when they're in there and put the actual date in and then drop them when they're born, and then transition them to center-based or home-based enrollment.
Thanks, Fred. Kara, I see your hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was from before. My apologies. Let me
Okay,
put
go
that
ahead, bring.
down.
All right, if you can bring it down for me. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just do my last update, which I really don't have anything to offer today. And I know everybody is waiting to hear about the RFP. We are in discussion. We've been in discussion with Department of Law and the mayor's office, and we're waiting a final decision on the RFP. And as soon as we get that message, then we will definitely be coming back to let you all know where we are on our RFP. So no update as of this moment. I do know that there's a meeting today, and hopefully we'll get something later today that we'll be able to share. But as of today, I don't have an update. Know that we've walked through the process of writing the RFP. Everything, the world has changed. A lot has changed since we started this process. So know that we will be coming back to you with an update on the RFP as soon as we get a decision that's made on it. So more updates to come on that. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next person. Thank you. Craig or Angel, whomever is doing program admin updates.
I can start. I think I have another slide in there. Can I see the next one? For self-assessment. I just want to go, Angel.
Yeah. So Craig, we'll talk about self-assessment and PIR. The only thing I want to mention to you all, so right now we are over the 50% for utilization for state contracts. And so some of you all, Ms. President has been reaching out to schedule meetings so we can actually talk to you about making sure we don't leave any money on the table. So please respond to those meetings. She's giving you, in most cases, 2 to 3 optional available dates that you could pick from. And so now would be the time for, if you're underutilized, let's come up with a plan so you can do a budget revision now so it won't affect you billing, vouchering closer toward the end time of the grant, which is June 30th. Again, right now, I'm only talking to my ECBG state-funded agencies. I won't be talking to federal agencies for about another 2-3 weeks. Okay, now Craig. You can change the Craig, thank you.
All right, so it is time for us to start the annual self-assessment process. Self-assessment is a process that looks at systems around the city and how they support services. So it gives us a specific time and place to stop and take stock, focusing on how well we've met community needs, how well we're following best practices and program standards, and what challenges that we face. So your voice and participation are going to be critical in this process. So we are looking for volunteers to participate in the 2025 process. We would love to have both staff from subrecipient agencies and to have parent participation as well. So new members would be seated on March 19th, 2025, which is our first meeting. If you can volunteer, would like to take part, please indicate your interest by emailing the address that's up there, cellsplanning@cityofchicago.org, and let us know your name, title, what agency you're with, and what funding sources you work under, like Head Start, Early Head Start Child Care Partnership, and so on. Again, if you have any parents, maybe somebody from your policy committee, for example, who might be interested in participating, please encourage them to sign up as well. The deadline for volunteering is March 6th, and you see the meeting dates here. There will be a March 19th meeting that's virtual, then a May 28th meeting at the King Center, a June 18th meeting at the King Center, and August 14th virtual meeting where hopefully we'll be finalizing the process. These are all Wednesdays in case you're curious about that. It would also be super helpful if we have your agency self-assessment reports in hand during this process. So I'll promise you this, if you can get them to us before March 19th, I will read them all before the first meeting. So that's a good way to make sure that your concerns and your goals are included in this process if you're not able to volunteer yourself. Okay, next slide, please. So PIR for Head Start and Early Head Start sub-grantees, PIR season is actually now because we use the spreadsheet monitoring and we need them to be done. So we need to be able to see your screening information and so on. This is where we're checking on progress. So this is not something that we're going to submit in August. This is something that needs to be up to date now. Everything that is in that document that on the tab that's marked important in bright red, when you see the due dates for those, you will have noticed that those have all passed. So eligibility information should be there on every child. A health history should be there. Screening should be there. The family information should be done. We should know who your teachers are and have staff turnover. All of that needs to be in there, as well as pretty much everything else that is, like many items have a column that says at enrollment, and then they have another column that says at the end of the program year. Everything that says at enrollment should obviously be done now. So please take a look, and if your spreadsheet is not complete, meaning there's lots of columns of information that are yellow still, please make them not be yellow by putting stuff in. Thank you on that. One more, I think, although Saray will cover most of this, but I heard on a radio commercial that repeating things helps them sink in and make people remember them more. So we were trying to, our deadline for adoption of the basic modules of CSD Cares is tomorrow. If you haven't taken attendance so far, which is the big hole, when you look at that sheet, we see a lot more people who have kindergarten classes and have work to be adding funding than we have that are taking attendance. So if you're not taking attendance, please start doing so now. Where I'm working with the vendors on some better reports. I don't have them for you today, but you'll get an update on that soon. So please take a look for that. We're going to be producing reports that have attendance by funding source. We're just correcting some of the issue with those before that made the old reports kind of harder to use. But having said that, we are, as Rachel managed, mentioned, we are understaffed right now. I've got somebody out on leave and I've got a vacancy. So it's like half of a team. So we are running a couple weeks behind on processing tickets. We're trying to get through the backlog every day now, but there are a lot of other things going on too. But that is to say, we're aware of that, but if you have a site and you've got 100 kids there and you can only get 92 of them into CSD Cares, that's not a reason not to take attendance. Like, you do not need to wait until every single child is there. You can start now. You need to get used to doing it and figure out how that works. There is a new interface that will let you take attendance weekly or even monthly. It's kind of hidden, but when we get information out to you soon on the new reports, we'll also cover that. There will be a whole big attendance push next month. So can be on the lookout. And if you need assistance, contact the data team. If you're having trouble getting kids in, please start a ticket. We will get to them. It just might take a while right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. Who's doing expenditure and finance?
Good morning, everyone. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have the Head Start at 94%, the Early Head Start at 82%, the Early Head Start CCP at 71%, the EHS expansion at 81%, and we are in FY24 closeout process. With the new Head Start, we're at 8%, the FY25 Early Head Start 6%, the FY25 EHS CCP 5%, and the EHS expansion 7% for FY25. ECBG, we're at 42%, and with CCAP, we're at 24%. Health and Human Services FY24 closeout report in progress for due date of 3/1/25. As it relates to the FY25, we have invoices through January 31st, 25 should be submitted at this time. Accruals were also due by February 10th for any December 24 expenditures expected to miss the deadline. We are currently experiencing delays for invoice approvals due to the peak season, which is from January through April. Childcare, the CCAP team will be sending communications regarding MERF forms and exemption requests. Please respond by March 7th. Also, we are currently experiencing delays for the invoice approvals due to the peak season, which is January through April. As it relates to PIPFA, invoices submitted, invoices through January 31st, 25 should be submitted at this time. Accruals were also due at February 10th for any December 24 expenditures expected to miss the deadline. Again, we are currently experiencing delays for the invoices approvals due to this is peak season from January through April. There's ICE supplier training. The training schedule for FY25 is pending, but there will be updates that can be found on ICE supplier homepage via the link below. Insurance, make sure your insurance is up to date because if it's not, it'll hold up your contracts, your invoices, and your payments. Keep your ICE supplier contacts up to date in order to receive proper communications from our voucher audit team during their invoice review. And per contract requirements, invoices should be submitted at minimum monthly. Review your ICE supplier frequently to reconcile and determine any submission or resubmission needs. There's ICE supplier training and reference material below at the link. Please welcome to the team, Zachary Quadrato. He's our new supervisor of Children's Services of CCAP, and Cassandra Molina, who's an accountant with our PIPFA area. Our federal contracts, contacts for finance is Laverne Coleman and Teresa Lopez. Our corporate and RTL is Laverne and Teresa. Childcare is still Selena. And with PIPFA, until further notice, is Laverne and Teresa.
Thanks,
Hi,
Frederick.
everyone. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Rachel.
No, I was saying we're turning it over to you, Jackie. There you go. All right.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jackie Marshall, and I'm the Director of Operations for Vera Creative. If you are not aware, our agency handles the marketing and messaging for Chicago Early Learning. So today I'll just be sharing out some information on the enrollment program and 2025 materials. So the new application will be open on Tuesday, April 8th. This is the new look for the 2025 campaign, and we will be leading with a tagline, Early Learning Begins at Birth. That way, if your agency serves 0 to 3-year-olds or 3 to 5-year-olds, the messaging is encompassing for all agencies. Last year, we led with a very bright orange color, and this year we are introducing some new fun shapes, some shades of blue, and this will be citywide. So on bus ads, on billboards, just be familiar with this design, and you should be seeing it throughout the city beginning in April. These are our marketing materials. So this is just a very high level view of 3 pieces of the material, the flyer, door hanger, and yard sign. We will also be sure to provide different photo options of your babies. Again, if your agency only serves infants, we'll have some babies on there. If you serve 3 to 5, we'll have some older kids. Some of the marketing materials that you can look out for to receive is custom flyers, custom banners, posters, yard signs, and door hangers. And then we'll also have a dashboard with the digital files. That way, if you're sharing on your social media accounts or any sort of digital way, you can have those accessed as well. This is an example of what the custom materials will look like. So I'm going to share a link momentarily for you to sign up to receive materials. But the information that you provide on the form for your agency name, address, and phone number will be included on these materials. So just ensure that whatever you're putting on the form is the most accurate. Sometimes people put their cell phone numbers. We've had that happen before instead of the agency phone number. So there is a place for you to mark your contact information. So upon delivery, we can contact you. And then there's a place for you to put the agency information. That way we can ensure that people are calling the agency directly. Month of the Young Child. So in the month of April, we'll be celebrating Month of the Young Child, which is just an extension of Week of the Young Child that is celebrated through NACCE. And so we will be conducting another reading tour. We did this last year for a few CBOs, and we're hoping to expand on that this year with the hopes of attending 2 to 3 CBOs a week in the month of April. And bringing in a Chicago leader, whether that's from the mayor's office or someone who's just doing really great work in the community that you serve, and having them come in to read to children in your program. So if you are interested in participating in the reading tour, if you can please put in the chat right now the name of your site and who the point person is and either their email or phone number. That way we can contact you and we'll save that information. I think the hardest part is just getting in touch with who is interested in having someone come to your space to read. But once we solidify that list, we will get a list of leaders from the community, and someone will be reaching out to you to schedule that time. And lastly, this is the form for the custom materials. So I'm going to drop the link here. It's going to be dropped here in the chat, but it'll also be shared out in the next few CSD updates. So again, if you can please complete this form by March 15th. If you have 4 sites under your agency, every single site needs their own form. So please just ensure to, once you put it one time, we will receive it. Sometimes we get 3 to 4 entries. You will get a email notifying you that we have received your information. Again, each site gets their own form. So we know that that may take a little bit for you to complete all the information, but if you can hope to get that in by March 15th, you'll be part of the first batch that goes to print and receive your materials in a timely manner. Any questions? Awesome, thank you.
Well, right now the chat is blowing up with people who are interested in the readings, which is great to see. All right, thanks everyone. All right, so I know we've thrown a lot and I, went on my little rant here talking about our data system. I just want to know right now what specific questions or items of interest from anyone on the call. Raise your hand. It is your turn to have your discussion with us. Anyone? Can I see your hand up? Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is a general question. I just wanted to know, or maybe agencies, a few folks can put something in the chat box. Right now, we're talking about attendance being taken in cares. What are they looking at? What are agencies looking at to check to see if their staff is actually taking attendance right now? What are they looking? What do they look at? That's my question, if anybody wants to share.
Anyone on the call have a response to Ken's question? What are you looking at when your staff are putting in? How are you looking at it? What are you seeing?
I see Tiffany saying she's looking at each classroom under accounts. I'm wondering if there's anybody else doing anything different than that. And the reason I'm asking is because if we're going to get to that milestone for that fourth thing that you're talking about, Sir Rachel, with more directors being on this call and site directors and stuff, then
Right.
folks have got to be looking at something.
So for us, we have to literally go in and look as if we were taking attendance. And usually we will be able to, of course, run a report that we don't have just to see if it's at 100%. So for us, and that's the only way that I know how to do it, we'll have to literally go in and look at the classroom as if we're taking attendance, which, takes some time.
From your homepage in CSD Cares, if you go to the tile that says Reports and Analytics, there should be a subfolder from the reports view that will contain attendance reports. That's what we're working on to update. They're not, in my mind, perfect. But there are reports in there for each of the funding sources that you can then run and see how many of the children were attendance in the previous month. Currently, that's the one that's in there that's the best. It's called like Head Start attendance previous month or something like that. So that right now it will show you January and then next week it'll show you February. But we are working on putting some new reports in there that are more accurate, and there'll be one for the current month as well. But that's where you should look. If you look under reports and are not able to see the attendance reports subfolder, then let us know. We'll have to do something to update your access so you can see them. Again, they're in there, but I'm not sure that everyone can see. So again, from the homepage, when you first log into CSD Cares, one of the tiles at the bottom is called Reports and Analytics. You click on that, and then it will say, do you want to see reports or analytics? There's not really anything under analytics right now, so you click reports, and then there will be folders in there. So look for the attendance subfolder.
Can you also type what you just said into the chat for anyone who didn't catch everything, Craig? Thank you.
Sure.
I see a few other responses in the chat. I go by classroom. Monthly view on the managed attendance in each classroom. Again, I look at classrooms. You know, one person's asking, is there a report? At ADA-S, they look at the classroom under accounts, and so they're looking at it various ways. But again, our working to make sure that there's access to a report is what people are looking for. Ken, did you have another one?
No, that's it. I think the only thing we'd like to add, hopefully, Saratha, by the March meeting, if not sooner, is maybe just some type of graphic around, I mean, an actual graphic as far as just how people should navigate that maybe this group can get to so people can better manage that process. You know, that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? Did everyone on the call get the link that was put in by Jackie so that you're able to get your materials? If not, we will definitely be sending it out, but we wanted to make sure that everyone know that she did put the link in the chat. And if you just open that up, then you'll have access to it. Stephanie, I see your hand up.
You okay?
Did you have a question or comment, Stephanie?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my chat is not loading for whatever reason, so I'm unable to see the link for that was just put in.
Okay.
So it will be sent out via email?
Yes. Oh yeah, we'll send
Okay.
it out, no problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions from anyone?
So Rachel, the four areas that you're looking at to see if the agencies are inputting correctly is what type of communication will we have to know if we're deficit in one of those areas?
We've been doing the assessment. I wanted to see, I know the team is going out. What we will be doing is reaching out to agencies where we see it's not working, because one of the things we want to do is find out, you know, if there's a reason that you're not, why. We know, for example, as I mentioned, some of the kids, you know, you can't get in all your enrollments done if you can't get all your kids over from school med. So I know Craig and team have been working on that. But then we'll be working with you to figure out how we can assist. What else do we need to give you? We will point you in some cases to the knowledge system that's on the website when you go on, where you can pull down some of the trainings and the tools to help do it. But what we will want to do is do an assessment with the agency to figure out exactly what your issues are, because we got to get everybody over the hump. And so some of it's going to end up being one-on-one, and some of it's going to end up being groups. Did that answer your question?
Yes, somewhat. I was just trying to see if, you know, for us, if there was a quick fix, if it's something that we missed. So who will communicate like, hey, your funding isn't attached to this child and this child. Like, how would I know without being able to run a report or going back in person by person?
This is Angel.
Okay,
Girls Dotson. If you send me an email and you give me 2 days to get with data to pull it, I'll be able to answer the email to show you what we see on our side. And then we'll set up a meeting where it'll either be on Teams or it could be in person where somebody will be out to help you with further assistance as needed.
So for us, we just want to make sure that it's syncing, like we're doing the work, but
Yes.
with CARES up and down sometimes, we don't know if that information has gotten over to you all. And so I guess my whole thing is to put checks and balances here at our agencies to ensure about time you get that information, then there is, it's accurate and complete. I may or may not necessarily need assistance. I just need to make sure that, it's the system is running properly. But I hear what you're saying. We can do that as well.
Thank you.
And know that we, instituted this just to see how things were moving. And the staff are going to be reaching out to agencies where we see on our side, to what Angel was saying, where we can see the gaps and we can see what's needed. And that's what then we are tasking staff to be your support and getting you over the hump. If we look and see that they're, you guys are doing everything, then are you able to do what's next? In the system, are you able to do are you doing your meal counts? Well, we want to make sure people are able to do all of what's required in the system for all your children is where we're trying to go with this.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. So Amina said, thank you for the reporting information. It's helpful. Maurice asked the question, would it be helpful if you shared your agency site portal to give a quick demonstration? And someone put a thumbs up. So is that possible for you to do that right now? I know that we had some issues sharing a minute ago.
Huh? You didn't hear mine?
Craig, is it Martise and Craig? I know I want to just there you go. I'm sorry. I guess I want to work too fast here. Go ahead. Thank you.
Is Craig trying to share his screen?
I see that's what I thought he was doing. I'm trying to see. Craig, are you able to share?
You share screens right now. I'm not a presenter.
It's the same thing. See if he can be the presenter and actually share, Martise. I know it didn't work for me. If it doesn't work, what we will be able to do, Craig, we can work together on some screenshots and put a package together and email it to everyone.
Yeah, but we're working on that right now.
I know you are.
Send out
Yes.
soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's not. It's not going to allow.
Okay. Thanks, Martise, for trying. So what we can do is we can work on information. Again, I know some of the information is in the knowledge system, But, you know, we'll work with the team to see what we can package together and send out after the meeting to help folks be able to see where reports are, how to access them so that you're able to see what's going on with attendance on your side, and to be able to capture what the process is as well. So I'm looking at chat to see if there are other questions or other items that's needed. The other one is, can you please, what the enrollment should look like on CARES, which check marks. So again, we'll go back to the Knowledge Center and make sure information is coming out to agencies on what all this should be. Just looking back at chat to see if we missed any questions. I can see you responding, Craig, as people are putting them in. Lisa is asking, will information about self-assessment be sent to agencies? Information will be coming out to you regarding the self-assessment process and the timeline, yes. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. Waiting to see if there are other questions in the chat. We've captured all of the agencies that have said that they were interested in having reading during the month of the young child. And so we will be getting back to folks as we try to get that together. And we thank you for your willingness to participate and have individuals come into your site and spend time with children reading books. We will be sending out more information regarding attendance and the process. We will be getting to agencies where we are noting that they are not able to do the 4 critical modules in CARES, because that's we know would be the stumbling block to you're doing the additional work. As I said earlier, and I see one other question about applying for PI funding. As I said earlier, I don't have a date right now for the next RFP. Anyone who's interested in a funding stream that you don't currently have, or those of you who have funding and are looking to apply for continued funding, it will be coming out in the next RFP. And we don't have a date for that yet. We're still working that through the process. So more information to come on that. All right. So I want to say thanks, everyone. Thanks for everything that you do every day on behalf and with all of our children and families out in community. I know right now that, you know, we have all been riding on what feels like sometimes a speeding train. Know, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, that we here at the City of Chicago have Department on Law and others who are consistently looking to see what information is coming out and what, if any, impact that is to any of us who are participating and providing any of the programs that are funded under the federal dollar. If there's any notifications or any information that we need to share with you about any changes that impacts you, of course, we will be getting directly to you. We would not wait if it was an urgent message on the next EDPD. We would then send out a message that we need to get everybody together on a call. Just know that we are minding the store in that respect, keeping up with it, because we want to know what we need to know to make sure that we're doing everything on behalf of you in community. When we know more, then we will be sharing back with you. So in the interim, what I ask you to do is this. I know these are hard times. And so in minding your staff and seeing how people are doing, because there's a lot coming at people every day. We have parents who are reliant on Medicaid and, other programs, and, they're hearing that there are changes. And so they're nervous, and there's a lot of nervous anxiety. And so I ask those of you who are leaders right now, who are doing this work out there, to keep your eyes and ears open and look and keep up with what's going on with your families and with your staff, so that we can then, if we need to support, if we need to call our mental health person and say we need someone to come in and participate and help, we'll do that. But what we know is this is hard. you know, the unknown is really, really difficult for people to live in and live under. And we recognize that here at DFSS. So know that we're doing everything that we can to stay on top of things. But I need you on the other side to really keep your eyes and ears open for the folks that you have at your agencies and the people that you serve, so that we can do what we need to do to be support to them through everything that's going on around them. The worst thing that people have, I know as a human, and I'm just going to speak about me, is I am, and you know, have I been told this more so by my grandchildren than my daughters, because I just don't think they wanted to say it, but you know, male children seem to be very vocal. I do have a little bit of control freak in me, and I need to know what I need to know, and I need to know it, and it's hard for me to live in the unknown. So I know what people are going through right now, and I bear that every day and hope for us to get through this really, really soon. Stay on top of it. Keep your eyes and ears open and let your people know that you care and that you're concerned and that you have someone you can call if you've got a question, and we're going to be responsive to you so that they know that we're all in this together. And I need you to help us with that on your side of this coin. On our side, we're going to keep doing what we do every day to keep on top of it. We're having meetings. We're looking at everything, trying to go down to the bare minimum of the letter and something to see if that's something that's going to impact us. And so, no, we're doing our work, but I ask you to do yours on the other side because we're all in this together. Let's take care of each other through this. You know, we've had some hard times. These are hard times. We're going to get through it, but we get through it together. So I just ask for your partnership as we walk this walk right now. If there's anything that you need, you know, you can reach me at any time. I'm available. Jocelyn is going to be my gatekeeper, because if there's a lot that I'm trying to do in a day, don't think that I won't get to you. I might not be able to get to you in an instant, but I will get back to you. So again, I thank you for everything that you do every day. Keep up the great work that you're doing out there. Know that our children deserve us to be there for them. Our children feel everything that we feel. So let's wrap our arms around those children that we serve and help them have a better day. So stay safe, take care of yourselves, be mindful of life gets better when people work together to make life better. So I thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. We'll get through it, and we'll get through it together. And so see you soon. Take care, everyone.